Hi, my name is Kellie. I'm a private tutor at Kellie's Tutoring. And yes, it's finally the summer. And what a weird school year it's been already. But before we start celebrating and enjoying the sunshine, I have to warn you, across the country, across every city, every village, there is something that is out to get your child. It's the summer slide. Dun dun dun. What is the summer slide? Now, it sounds like a lot of fun, right? Who doesn't like summer? Summer connotes to playfulness, the sunshine, green grass, going out with your friends, cycling, late nights, campfires, snuggling up, family time. And who doesn't like slides? I mean, even as adults, we all like to go on water slides. I mean, we even put them in our back gardens where you can go along. We say it's for the kids, but But no, that is not what the summer slide is. The summer slide refers to the knowledge that our children lose over the summer. So they start off here and they go down, or here and they slip. That is what the summer slide is. And it taps in to something that is being hotly debated. What do we do with our kids over the summer holidays? Do we continue with studies, intensive courses, especially since they've had their education disrupted, right, by COVID-19? Or do we take the approach of doing absolutely nothing, a free-for-all, where the children can do whatever they like when they like, including vegging out, sitting around, doing nothing? Now, we have seemingly two polarized positions, and we've developed this culture of do or don't, and that's it, all or nothing. But is that really the case? Before we look at this, the first thing we need to explore is, well, what does the research tell us? What do studies, show us? Because if we're going to choose something, we need to make an informed decision, right? Well, actually, we have a century worth of research documenting what we call the summer slide. And it goes back from 1906, from a publication, an American educator, White, in 1906, published a paper showing that, or documenting, how students at the start of the summer performed very well in standardized tests, and then after the summer holidays seemed to have gone backwards by as much as 2 months. And we've actually seen studies around the world from in the 90s all the way up to 2017 showing the same effects. Math knowledge seems to be the worst hit, and it's probably because the concepts aren't used. Now, it does make sense when we think about it. There is the old adage, you either use it or lose it. And that seems to be what is going on. And I know some of you might be thinking, well, hang on a minute. There is definitely information that I have retained and that my children retain, right? One of the prime examples is riding a bike. Majority of people learn to ride a bike from as young as 4 or 5, and maybe they've gone for years without even being near a bike. And yet you've probably had that experience where you maybe for years you've not cycled, and then you go on holiday and you think, oh, I know, I'll rent a bike, it'll be quite nice to go cycling here. And you hop on and you're off. You're zipping around as if you were that 5-year-old child again, daring, enjoying it, wind in your hair, sunshine beating down, and you feel freedom. You feel like you're soaring like a bird. You're not thinking about it at all, right? So why is that? Well, that's because there are 2 types of memory. There's what we call the declarative memory, and that can be broken down into 2 parts, which we call episodic, and that's related to our experiences of events, and semantic, which relates to our knowledge. So naming the, capital cities, remembering historical facts, remembering the meaning of words, That is semantic knowledge. And then we have something called procedural memory, and that's related to performance. And that's where something like cycling sits in. And actually, we've looked at this, it's very interesting. In the 1950s, they did a study with a man who had epileptic fits, and to help ease those, they had to cut part of his brain away. Now, sadly, what they discovered was that he was unable to remember events in his life, and he was unable to form new memories. But skills that were procedural seemed to stay there. And the one where they tested this was they got him to, do some tracing, and he had to do this repetitive task. And what they found was that when they asked him, "Oh, do you remember doing it?" he had no knowledge. But in terms of the movement, he was able to replicate it. He was able to do it. And so procedural memories seem to be deeper rooted, anchored. And even with brain traumas, they find that this memory still stays intact, so that they'll still be able to, for example, ride a bike, but they wouldn't be able to necessarily remember what they had for breakfast. So what does that mean in terms of our children studying over the summer? Well, it means that to help them retain the information and to hold them in good stead for when they start back with either schooling or home learning programs, that they do something over the summer. Now, that does not mean replicating a school. It doesn't mean constructing a school over the summer. It doesn't mean having them work 9 to 3, 5 days a week. If you home educate, you probably have a program or schedule. You don't have to stick with that either. What it does mean is allowing them to do something that uses those skills. So, for example, English, literacy skills. Research has shown that if they do nothing, they will lose approximately 2 months worth of that reading ability, their literacy skills. So now if you have a child that hates comprehension, giving them comprehension tasks, even 15 minutes a day, which seems like nothing, it's just going to produce more of the same. It's going to build up resentment. So to avoid that, maybe encourage your child to, take part in a book club. That way then they get to dissect texts that a group are studying. It's more spoken than written, but it's still utilizing the same skills of retrieving information and discussing texts. If you can't join a book club, you could set one up in the family home. Mom, dad, siblings, cousins, aunts, uncles. You can do it over online platforms, Zoom, Skype, whatever you use, FaceTime, WhatsApp. And you can then, it brings that to life so that your children will value those skills because they're putting them into practice. They can see that it's worthwhile, and it's removed from perhaps any negative connotations they may have formed from doing comprehension tasks. Another thing you can do with maths. Now, maths is a little bit more of a challenge because there are some concepts that perhaps you can't just integrate daily. So it might be worthwhile you reviewing a concept. And it's important that we move away from results driven to what I call a growth mindset. Now, a growth mindset approach doesn't look at the results. It looks at the effort that the child puts in. And doing this, what you're nurturing is your child's ability to go beyond their current position. So, for example, if they get all their answers wrong in a practice test paper, you don't punish them by saying, "Oh, you need to work harder, you need to do more," and then increasing the amount of study hours. You be specific and say, "Well, I can see you took your time with this. I can see you tried your best." And you think, well, what ways can we help to bring, to nurture that learning so that you can master this concept, rather than saying, "Oh, how can we improve your score?" You look at how can we improve your understanding. And then perhaps, if necessary, you have to look at investing in, more books or a different app or something. But your child then will feel, actually, I can do it. And it doesn't matter if I get it wrong, because in my failure, I am learning. My failure doesn't define me. It doesn't define my worthiness. And so you're setting them up for success. Now, other things that you can do over the summer that perhaps you couldn't do is you could go to aquariums, museums. If you physically can't go there, you can look at them online virtually. And rather than just, saying, here you go, kids, go, go for it, engage with them, engage them on what they're doing. How? Well, again, asking them open-ended questions. Ask them, for example, oh, look at this exhibit. What do you think that artifact was used for? Or when do you think this was, made? What materials is it from? All of those engages your child in their learning. And research again has shown that when parents ask open-ended questions in art museums, in history museums, in aquariums, that the child actually retains a greater amount of information. So it's worthwhile getting stuck in yourself. So it's a great excuse to enjoy the wonders that perhaps you haven't done for a while. Another thing that you can do is to get your child to, cook with you. Getting them to cook with you, getting them to read the recipes. You can practice fractions by halving, by doubling, setting the time. All of this helps them to develop their awareness of the practicalities of these concepts. And again, you might be feeling slightly overwhelmed. You might think, oh gosh, I'm not very good at math myself, or I'm not very good with English myself. But let me say, relax, you are not alone. Sorry to burst your bubble, but many parents do not know a lot of the new concepts or terms because it changes, right? Education's dynamic, it evolves. By telling your child, I don't know, is not a sign of weakness. In fact, research has proven that when you take that approach, you're nurturing a growth mindset in your child and you're embodying it yourself, because what you're demonstrating is actually, I don't know this, but I'm willing to find out. So your child will develop the same skill. You're setting them up for success. And it's shown that by doing this and engaging with their learning, you actually increase their retention and their ability to learn by 15 to 25%. So by not knowing, it's actually a blessing. It's a wonderful thing, because it means that you are also going to look up and find out how you can discover the answer. And what a wonderful gift to be able to give to your children, so that they will also feel like, okay, I don't know something, but I'm not just going to be like, oh, well, I don't know. I'm going to find out, what do I need to do to get the answer? And that's such a brilliant skill in today's ever-changing world. I mean, it's always been like that, right? But you're giving those skills so that they're resilient and so that they're adaptable and flexible. And then, endless possibilities are there for them. Now, you might be thinking as well, actually, my child has the 7+, the 11+ exam coming up in autumn, or you might have a GCSE reset, or you might be in your last year of GCSE studies, or your last year in A-level studies. Your child might be there. They might have those, exams quite imminently. Or your child might just and actually struggle with certain concepts. And so you think, no, I need to, give them the best shot. I need to give them intensive, tutoring or, intensive studies. But again, that could be very counterproductive and counterintuitive. If your child has an important exam, for example, the 7+ or the 11+, doing everything that's been discussed in this vlog will definitely help them, because you're nurturing the skills that they need to pass the exam. However, what you can do is set aside, 1 or 2 hours, maybe 3 hours a week to go through concepts that they're particularly finding challenging. Perhaps you might want to hire a tutor or a group session so that they can discuss these concepts in greater detail with a specialist. There's nothing wrong with that. But what you don't want to do is give them, a set rigid structure. You want to allow them time to digest it. So again, setting aside some time is absolutely fine. Now, if your child, has a special educational need or disability, again, you may need to, implement some structure in their, learning. And there's nothing wrong with that. But again, it's about more, less is more here. and spreading it out rather than all at once and being highly intensive. And that way then it just allows them the time to, do all the other activities and tasks that we've discussed in this vlog, so that they can, have the variety. And what I will be doing is in the next vlog, I will be discussing efficient revision techniques over the summer, so that your GCSE and A-level child can still have fun, still get a break, but still get the knowledge that they need to pass their exam. So that will be in the next vlog. So what do we need to do? Well, we need to stop looking at polarized all or nothing. We need to ensure that we don't allow our child on the summer slide. And we can do that by not recreating a draconian school setting with rows of desks and silent study, but by engaging with our child's learning, by admitting when we don't know something, by being creative with learning opportunities, by going to book club, by going to perhaps tuition, one-to-one tuition or group sessions, either online or, if safe and you're able to, face-to-face, by going into practical skills of cooking, or even, practical summer camps that are open, and allowing that to spark a curiosity, so that your child can discover what it is to really learn a skill or a concept and how to apply it in real life settings, using spatial awareness with puzzles and building. And it allows you to be involved. And as we know, the studies have shown that it can increase retention for up to 15 to 25%. So no summer slides, water slides, yes, park slides, yes, if it's safe and you're allowed. Otherwise, enjoy the summer. A little and often is better than nothing. I would love to hear your comments, your feedback. What are you getting up to over the summer? If you're going on holiday, perhaps you're sparking an interest of learning a new language or the history of a certain place. Also remember, check out the blog that goes with the vlog as well. And as I said, please let me know what you would like me to cover in some of these vlogs as well. And remember, tune in for next time, where we will be discussing efficient revision tips over the summer for GCSE and A-level students. Bye for now.